It's the political brown kid here, and I got some bad news for the fellas. And I guess first I want to say this. I hope you guys listen and hear me out because I made a video before, and a lot of people jumped to a lot of different conclusions and didn't stick to the end. And maybe that was partly my fault because I talked and rambled probably a little too much, but they didn't stick around to the end to hear what my point was. So I'm going to try to be direct this time, but I also hope that you be a little bit patient. I think that when it comes to dating and the way society has moved, we just can't throw all of the blame on a particular gender. And I noticed that in the space that, at least in the videos that I've been looking at, because I guess my algorithm and what I personally particularly lean to, which is more men's video on what women are doing wrong, that's what I get to see. Aside from seeing Cynthia G just go on total rants about men. But I'm going to say this. Us as men have a particular role to play in the problem that we're seeing with women. And it's almost synonymous. If you remember being in the 80s, for all of us that are old enough, I'm in my mid 40s right now. If you remember the late 80s, early 90s, and if you came from particular areas, you knew that particularly the narcotics dealers spoiled the women and made women just horrible people. They set a particular standard that the average man or average young guy could not attain. And they spoiled these women. So when you look at the role today, men have played, we as men have played a role in women being the way that they are today. And so I'm going to say it from this perspective. When you look at it from a legislative perspective, there have been a lot of men, particularly Democratic men. So, and I know a lot of you guys are going to hate me for that. I know a lot of you bleeding liberals, bleeding heart liberals are going to hate that, but it's true. A lot of men, they get up here with these talking points. And even Bill Maher, he's just a proponent of just foolishness. He's a racist liberal. But when you look at the senators and politicians that we have, they rally behind their female counterparts to support whether it be legislation or just talking points and using their political power to project a particular narrative. And a lot of those narratives have been counterintuitive to dating. They want, these men have supported keeping men traditional while advancing or progressing women's modern feminist movements. So it's kind of shifted things out of balance. So they've kind of promoted this, women, my body, my choice. They've kind of promoted in this narrative that women are underpaid and they don't get paid equally. And there's all of this misogyny and, anti-women's stuff going on in the workplace and in society. And they've demonized men while praising and promoting and victimizing women. So that's from one perspective when you look at politicians. But then when you look at it from the dating world and from the dating perspective too, it's us as men, and I'm not trying to say it's all men. Again, we're talking in generalities because I was watching a video the other day and I'm going to use this as an example. But men have helped to fuel women's behavior. And a lot of men know this to be true. Whether it's when these women post pictures, because I see women post pictures all the time and I'm like, why are you posting this picture? Like, especially, and I don't even use social media. So some social media I log into just to log in to check information or emails or whatever, or messages. And the first thing I'll see is somebody that I know, it's a female, she'll post something saying, "Good morning, everyone," and it's just a picture of her. And it's kind of like, and a lot of women do this, where they just take a picture and they'll say, "Good morning." And some guys do this as well, but you don't see it that prevalent with guys. But women just take a picture of themselves and just say, "Good morning." And so they want to get a reaction. They want attention. They want people to say, "Ooh, you look beautiful." Ooh, this. They want to be validated. And a lot of men feed into this. A lot of men are just oogling over pictures of females that they don't know, who they probably will never meet in life. And there's nothing wrong with, I guess if, you're trying to find love on the internet, but there's a way to go about it. Have some kind of dignity and respect. You don't need to If a woman is beautiful, she already knows she's beautiful. You don't have to tell her, "Oh, you're this, you're that, you're the best thing I've ever seen in my life," because it just fuels women's egos and behavior. That's one thing. The second thing is what I was going to mention this video. I just was watching a video on this female, and she actually turned off the comments in her comment section because she did not want to hear it. And I don't blame her, because sometimes it's hard for me to look at the comments in my comment section. But she did a video, and it was why she wanted her BBL removed. And she was a female, and I think she was based in Chicago. She was riding around in her car talking about her BBL, and she said that it just was real huge, and she's been having back problems, so forth, so forth. I'm just kind of giving you that detail just in case you wanted to run and look up this video. But she was basically saying in her video that, she was getting a lot of attention, and she was saying it was for the wrong reasons. She was saying people wanted to take pictures with her. People wanted her to turn around to show her behind and take pictures with her. And then she was saying people even wanted to pay her they were paying her to take pictures with her. Now, she didn't mention the gender of these individuals. This could have even been women doing this. So if the women were doing this, then you're part of the problem too. But right now I'm speaking directly towards men. But if you're paying for women to take pictures with them, and if you're oogling over a behind like you've never, especially black men, and the reason why I'm saying especially black men, that's one thing we probably need to stop saying too as a race, is start saying especially, we always do that. And I'm just guilty of it, so I apologize. But the reason why I say especially black men is because black men, we've grown up looking at black women for 100,000, 100 million years. There should be, when you see a female with a nice behind, you should be like, I've seen it before. I've seen it on Janet Jackson. I've seen it on Trina. I've seen it on, you can go Tiana Taylor. You can go down a whole list. And even if you haven't seen those females, because you've seen those females only on television, I'm pretty sure there's a female in your life named Keisha, LaTanya, Tawanda, Letitia, whatever her name is, that you've seen in your neighborhood that had a nice little high arching basketball behind on her. So I don't know why a behind is that amazing to you, especially a BBL, because the BBLs to me look ridiculous. It looks super fake. So I don't know why we're oogling over a woman's body like that. Act like you've been someplace before. Act like you've seen some things before, okay? And so when you start paying women to take pictures with them, when you start paying a woman for her time, I even saw a video where a woman said the guys were cash apping her because the guy had to cancel a date. And she told him, well, you messed up my schedule and, you messed up my time. If you don't know these women, stop sending women money. I've heard this. I forgot who I was watching, but it was another podcast where a guy was saying that he's seen guys pay women's rent that they didn't know. They would just cash out women money. There's videos going around on the internet. I just watched one yesterday where this woman was saying that pretty women in Atlanta shouldn't be working. It was a woman saying that. It was a young female. She said pretty women in Atlanta should not have a job because all they have to do is get money out of men because men will give you money. I'm not making this up. So I'm saying all of these things to say this is that if you're paying for women that you don't know, that's not your wife, that you don't live with, that you're not committed to, then you are a part of the problem. If you are oogling over women's bodies, with body parts, even oogling over their face like you've never seen a pretty woman, you are part of the problem. If you are a politician or you're supporting politicians that are supporting, and you're not telling your politicians that you do not like this rhetoric of, promoting hyper-feminism or toxic feminism, and whereas always continually bashing men, then you are a part of the problem. So I want us as men to kind of acknowledge those things, and we need to be just like women in the sense. The one thing I do love about women, I love a lot of things about women, but the one thing I do really admire them for is they stick together. they're kind of like Republicans. If you notice, Republicans stick together no matter what. They support whomever, no matter what. And women support other women no matter what. There was a heavy set up, I don't know if she was a trans or what, but it was a heavy set white woman that said she was a 10. She was on some podcast show. No other woman said, girl, you a lie. No, women stick by other women and validate them and uphold all of their positions. They stick together. We as men need to learn how to stick together and say, this is the behavior that we're going to have going forward. But unfortunately, we got a lot of these guys out here that are willing to just pay and do whatever. They're not willing to stay home and have alone time with themselves because they're just trying to pay for a piece of tail. And they're probably not even getting that. But you got to have some type of respect about yourself. So let's stop being a part of the problem. Let's stop being a part of, stroking these women's egos, and let's start holding them accountable. And maybe we'll get some better results. So this is the Political Brown Kid. This is my thought on the subject. If you have some differing thoughts or supporting thoughts, please drop them in the comment section because I welcome any and all comments. I can take it. Once again, this is the Political Brown Kid. I'm out of here.